Hi guys, this is Roland from Hippo, back with another video for you. So today I'm going to talk about disposable email addresses, otherwise known as DEAs. We're going to run through what they are, why you would care, and what you can do about them using Hippo technology. So what is it? So if anybody's watched any action movies, you might be familiar with the concept of a disposable cell phone, disposable mobile phone, or burner phone. So why would you want a burner phone? Interesting question. Possibly similar reasons that you'd want a disposable email address or a burner email address. So what do? Disposable email address providers, they provide the ability for anybody, for you and I, to remain completely anonymous and use email systems whilst remaining anonymous. So some of the examples that we've seen and known to us at Hippo are mailinator.com, temp mail, email on deck. So why do you care? Why do you care as an online merchant, an online business, about these things called disposable email addresses? Disposable email addresses have got a limited lifespan. They only last for so long. And why is that an issue for you? It's an issue because as a business, as any business, what you're interested in is building relationships with customers, long-term relationships, and that's particularly difficult to do if your customer is coming into your business using a temporary or burner email address. Why do they do it? Why do your potential customers use disposable email addresses? And that's an interesting question, and one we put to some of our customers. And we ask them, why do you use disposable email addresses to sign up for our service? And a typical answer that we get is that we use them because we don't really trust your business fully at this stage enough to give you our real email addresses. And that's fine, that's absolutely fine, we understand that. And to respond to that, we would say that as an online business, it's our responsibility. We see it as our responsibility to deliver public-facing messages to give as much confidence in our business as we possibly can. So what do? We explain who we are, what we do, how we do it, our security policies, our privacy policies, our data compliance policies. So we've got ISO 27001 as a data policy. So we go to great lengths to explain all of those issues, and we have to ask at the end of having explained all those aspects of our business and who we are, if somebody chooses to use a disposable email address because they don't trust us, then really, trust is a two-way street, and we have to ask ourselves the question: do we want to carry on a business relationship with a potential customer who's not willing to divulge their identity from the get-go? And for us, it's a personal decision, and we choose not to allow any registrations from customers using disposable email address providers, and that's a personal decision. So, another byproduct of disposable email address providers and people using disposable email addresses is that one of the major reasons for doing that is to remain anonymous, and that's fine. There are sometimes legitimate reasons for wanting to remain anonymous, but let's talk about it in the context of online transactions and online service providers such as ourselves. And one of the things that we found goes hand in hand with disposable email addresses is what we call free trial abuse. So we offer a trial for our services, in that you can supply an email address, and in exchange for an email address, a customer will get a free trial for 100 email validations. And that's a good thing. So that provides a facility for customers to assess our services fit for purpose. But what we found is that people will sometimes want to abuse that system, and rather than engage with us to assess our services, some customers are looking for free validations. And so it's really easy to use disposable email address providers. For example, I could do 1 at mailinator.com, 2 at mailinator.com, 3 at mailinator.com, sign up for services, and for us that would mean 300 email validations that we've provided for free to a customer that probably has no intent in engaging with us in any meaningful way. The other vector that we've noticed that goes hand in hand with disposable email addresses is payment fraud. So online it's possible to access lists of stolen credit cards, PayPal and other such payment methods, and that's one thing that goes obviously with payment fraud. The other thing that goes with payment fraud is the desire to remain anonymous. And how do you remain anonymous when you're signing up for a service that requires an email address? Well, the answer is use a disposable email address. So we've seen that pattern as well. But ultimately, as an online business, for disposable email addresses, you're looking at this equation here. So low quality lead is wasted time and money. We're really interested as online merchants in onboarding and engaging with people that have a genuine interest in our products and services. So how do DEAs operate? And we've seen some changes because we've been looking at this for a number of years now. Several years ago it was really simple, a really simple ecosystem for disposable email address providers. You would have just a handful of disposable email address providers, mailinator.com being one of the most prominent ones. And it will be really easy to identify them because any email address would be something at mailinator.com. But over the years, as these domains have become well known and listed in various different places, it's possible for people to know about these domains and take a decision on whether they want to engage with those domains or not. And these companies know this. So let's take mailinator.com for an example. You can still go to mailinator.com, use any address at mailinator.com on a temporary basis, but by the company's own admission, they have thousands of alias domains that also point to mailinator.com, so you can use any one of those mailinator.com domains as well as an alternative. Also, it's possible for people to identify disposable email addresses by their IP address, by the service IP address. And so what some of the disposable email address providers have started doing is rotating their IP addresses. Email on Deck is a classic example. And again, you can identify disposable email addresses sometimes by the mail service, by their footprint. And so some mail providers, disposable mail providers, are rotating their mail server infrastructure. So why is all this going on? Why is this rotation of infrastructure going on? It's for one reason, and the reason is to avoid detection and avoid being placed on lists, which will consequently allow merchants and other people to identify people using disposable email addresses. So email Hippo version 3, codename More. How does our DEA detection work? So we've developed this, we've spent a long time developing this with these developments in the ecosystem in mind. And what we're going for is one objective. We're going for the objective of being able to identify DEA providers regardless of what they do, rotating their infrastructure. So we use simple lists, and there are a number of them available online that you can get for free. We're actually involved in maintaining one of those lists on GitHub. So that's one really easy way of identifying disposable email addresses, is by using static lists, but it only goes so far. We also use infrastructure analysis. So we're looking at infrastructure that we know about on disposable email addresses, and we're targeting that infrastructure with the objective of, regardless of what these guys do, disposable email address providers, to rotate their infrastructure, we can identify it. And also, thirdly, we're using what we call advanced machine learning techniques. So in our activity as an online service provider, we get people approaching us using disposable email addresses, and also through our systems we get people that have sent us emails for validation that we can identify as disposable email addresses. That information is then fed back into a machine learning system and included in our advanced heuristics. So this thing gets smarter as time goes on. So all this is great, and it's specifically designed with the objective of giving our customers some of the best email detection for disposable email addresses on the planet. So give version 3 more a try. How do you do this? Well, go to emailhippo.com and sign up for a free trial, which includes not only disposable email address detection that we've talked about, but also some advanced email address validation technology as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for further updates, and also follow us on Twitter, and we'll give you some more updates on some exciting new developments that we're going to be coming out with in 2017 through 2018. So again, my name's Roland. I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.